Hello, and welcome to a podcast for nerds, the only show where two dudes who met as kids discuss our journey with all things nerdy, as well as life in our 30s. I'm Cody.
I'm Dakota.
And welcome back to a podcast for nerds.
I had to fart, sorry.
Great way to start it.
I don't normally do that, but I was like, you know what? This will be funny.
I wonder if the mics picked it up. My
No,
ears
it was
didn't, so I
It
doubt
was really silent. I'm good at those.
Silent,
I'm good
but
at making
deadly.
Yeah.
You might see us
I had to
die.
push it out, though. I had to give it a little force. You might see it on
But
the
you
mics
got to be
anyway.
careful, man. You're getting older. You know, one of these days it might be a poop.
Oh, it's happened. I had to call into work last year because it happened.
Hold
no,
on.
we'll be starting the...
Hold on. What happened?
So,
You
yeah.
thought you had to fart and...
So, no, what happened is I woke up like early in the morning and I was already having tummy issues. And I went in the bathroom and did my thing. And then, you know, I was like, all right, I'm good. I got it all out of me. I'm feeling better. And then I was like, oh, I feel a little fart creeping in on me. I'm going to let that in, then let it go. And I was like, oh, no.
It was a lot or just a little?
Just enough to where I was like, oh, no. So I was like, and that's only ever happened to me one other time in my life. And that was years and years and years ago. And when that happened, that time it happened to me, it was like a 2-day thing.
Oh,
Because
God.
I was like real sick.
Real quick, can you just twist your mic a little more towards you?
Yeah. Is that better, buddy?
I was worried maybe it's going to pick
No,
me
you're
up.
good.
Okay, okay.
But it happened, so I called my manager and I was like, I'm not gonna come in today because I don't want this to happen at work.
You told them what happened?
Well, she used to be like a nurse or worked with
Oh.
nurses or in the medical field, so like I was like, she'll get it. I was like, look, and I was gonna be honest, like, look, this happened, and I do not want it to happen at work.
Respectable.
And
I'm sure she didn't either.
she was like, yeah, oh yeah, you're good. Stay home, feel better. And it did happen one more time that day.
Oh, God.
You know.
Okay, I'll admit it. I had it happen to me once.
Okay.
Right in this room. Right in this very room. I think I was standing over here.
I gotta get out of
here. I was standing over this area somewhere, and this was before I left for Philippines. I don't know how long before. I don't know if this was many years ago or just a few years ago. But yeah, I don't know what there was like no expectation. I didn't feel any stomach issues, and yeah, I had to go clean everything up.
Just slipped out on you, huh?
And then I did have stomach issues after that, though.
Oof.
Like that was the beginning of it, so I didn't know to expect anything. But
You're like, oh no.
yeah.
What is you're like what is this?
It's nice. It's nasty. Honestly, that's not a fun thing.
It feels gross. You feel gross.
I feel old too. Is this what old age is? Like I see why people wear diapers if that's what.
Oof, no thanks.
Yeah.
I don't want to wear those.
So
But anyway,
it's been a long time, bro. Long time no see.
it's only been a couple weeks.
It's been a few weeks, man.
It's not as long as our usual intervals.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I went weeks without posting, without uploading, and then there were 2 weeks where I was actually uploading. We didn't record during those. It's got to have been at least a month.
Dang, again?
I'm pretty sure.
All right, we can't do that anymore.
Yeah, and actually, I'm on a much better place now. I wanted to we don't really need to talk about it, but
Sure, if you want to.
I mean, I will mention I apologize for not posting regularly and like as the schedule we said we would post, which is weekly. We talked about doing bi-weekly and that would be great, but even on that I didn't do it. It's because I got really busy.
Did you get some new rims?
I did get some new rims.
I like it.
Thanks, bro. I got a haircut too, but that's been a while, so it may have grown out already.
Yeah.
But that haircut story is a whole story in and of itself,
All right,
man.
We'll get to it.
Shit. It was the most frustrating haircut I've ever had in my life.
Oh, goodness.
But anyway,
So, yeah, about your self-healing.
I hadn't been posting a lot, but basically what I realized, I already knew this, but I'm a super habitual person, meaning like I run my life by habits and routine. And I just got out of a routine of working on this when I started working on Japan trip stuff and never managed to get back into it until about 2 weeks ago, where I literally sat down and I wrote out hour by hour what I need to be doing, which sounds ridiculous. It sounds extremely strict.
It's probably not even that much. A lot of it's probably little things, knowing you.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's like I'm very lenient with myself with that. Like, I'll write down that I'm meant to be like, I don't know, at the gym / eating lunch for 2 hours. It's not going to take that long.
As long as you go to the gym and eat lunch within that span of 2 hours.
Exactly. And then if I have time left over, normally I'll do the next thing on the list. And then by the end of the time, I've accumulated a bunch of extra time that I can do whatever I want with. So it's not like in this time I have to spend all this time doing this. But basically,
So you give yourself a 2-hour time span, but it doesn't mean you're necessarily going to spend the entire 2 hours doing those two things.
100%.
Because you might eat in 15 minutes and then you go work out and just do your chest that day. And chest day is only like a 20-minute workout if you hurry.
Exactly. And so that's basically helped a lot with getting this podcast out, because on every day, the beginning of the day, I set aside, it's like 40 minutes only. It's not a long time, but for podcast / convention reviews editing. So
Very good.
beginning of the week now, I'm editing the podcast, which is a very, very quick edit. Most of podcast editing, or most of the stuff I have to do for the podcast, is just checking the audio levels, make sure all that's good, rendering it, like waiting for this long video to render, and then uploading it. So and making the thumbnail. That's the biggest thing, actually, is making the thumbnail. But yeah, so we should be on a regular schedule now.
We're back to your regularly scheduled uploading.
Yeah. And I did want to mention one thing about the audio version of this podcast. I don't know if you've ever checked it. It is on Spotify.
I try to find it, but I can't.
I have a link to it under every video.
Oh, really?
There's a link to the Spotify of this.
Okay, well, check it
Podcast.
out if you like audio.
Yeah, go follow it there, because if you search it, it's still pretty hard to find. Meaning I never did.
It's not like my other podcast that I will eventually get back to.
I think the idea of a podcast for nerds, what I think we've mentioned before, was to make the title so broad that it's easily found. But I think this one ended up too broad
Yeah.
to where, yeah, a podcast for nerds. A lot of people have titles that are somewhat similar, even though they're not exactly the same. But
The Nerdcast.
exactly.
The Geeks and Nerd podcast, stuff like that.
Exactly.
I mean,
And so, but on the audio version of this podcast, we are 2 episodes behind. So it was really behind. I had only had like 2 episodes up, and everything else was only on YouTube. But I'm catching it all up this week. They will all be posted, and moving forward, the audio version will go out the same time as the video version.
okay.
So I don't know if anyone listens on the audio version. The analytics on it are normally pretty low, but just a heads up that it does exist.
Nice.
But anyway, so what do you want to talk about today?
I had something I wanted to mention, but I can't remember. Maybe I'll bring it up. So I did have something I wanted to discuss
Okay.
with maybe the catching up. I have.
Bro, that has to sound horrible on the mic.
I'm so sorry, listeners. I had to put it was raining, and I had to put a bag over my mic
That makes sense.
because I didn't want it getting wet.
That makes sense.
So you finished something recently. So real quick, how did you like The Last of Us Part 2?
So I was thinking about talking about this on the next episode.
On the next episode?
But I
Thumbs
can
up or
do
down?
it on. I can do it on this one.
Are
I
you
have
sure?
plenty of stuff I can talk about on the next one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Last of Us Part 2. You've never played any of it? Do you know anything about it?
I think I had one spoiler, but I don't want to say what it is just in case I'm wrong.
I would love to know what it is, but all right. I don't want you to spoil
And I know
anything
that
for
there's
people
a certain
anyway.
character in here that is very controversial.
Yeah. So that's okay. What I'll say about it is I absolutely loved it. There were points. Chris and I both played it together. Chris is my brother. We both played it together, switching off like old school, like we did when we were kids.
Really?
Yeah, it was kind of cool. He just stayed on the bed and I stayed on the chair. And we were, now that we're adults, we're very nice about switching off. When we were kids, it's like, it's my turn. Give me the controller. Blah, 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 blah. But now we're just like, hey, man, you ready? It's your turn.
It's your turn, bud.
And it's like, oh, really? Already? You can keep going for a while. I don't know how we became so nice, but we both felt very similarly.
You spent 3 years apart from each other.
Yeah, but we're mean to each other on other stuff
Oh.
still. But we both felt very similarly in that. I mean, I don't want to speak for him on the broad, like the final decision, but I felt that it was better than part 1. I really liked it. And I really don't think it's recency bias because I finished it a few weeks ago. I've had some time to sit on it and think about it and talk about it with Chris and then reading stuff online about it. And There's a character people hate. If you've never played Last of Us Part 2, there's a character in this game that is super controversial. A lot of people hate them. But other people love them, which I was surprised to find.
How do you feel about them?
Conflicted. So this character does some things in the game that
You've told me, because I've asked you about the character, but we're both trying to be vague. You told me they will do cool things and then immediately undermine it by saying something mean
exactly.
and
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the character does something that is outright like blasphemy, kind of. Like it just feels bad, real bad. But when you learn their motivations and why they did these things, I would never say it's this thing they did is justified, but I can somehow justify it in my head, honestly. I would love for you to play it so we could talk about it, but so that's a thing that I think a lot of people hate this character for, is this thing that they do. But I don't hate them for this at all. I think it's totally reasonable and justified. It makes complete sense. It's just the character's like attitude, the way they talk to people. Yeah.
Okay.
The way they act. But by the end, I did like this character.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't want to say what happens with them. I don't want to give anything away, but I definitely, by the end, I would say this game is a tragedy. Everyone involved, literally everyone involved is,
We're in a Rogue One situation, huh?
I don't think, without trying to spoil anything, but I don't go into this one expecting a happy ending. Go into it expecting a real ending, realistic. I'm not saying it's bad either. I'm just saying
Right.
it's real. That's what I really like about Last of Us. It feels super real. They're not forcing a happy ending on you. Last of Us 1 did the same. It was a very questionable ending, whether you thought...
It was, I don't want to say it was happy, but it was satisfying.
Yeah, but it also... I think this game does a similar thing of where they want the viewer or the player to feel like...
Conflicted?
Yeah, that there's a conversation to be had.
Because at the end, if you watch the show and the game are the exact same at the end.
For part 1.
Yeah. Like, so I'm wondering, maybe it'll make this some... But, by the way, season 1 of Last of Us, the TV show, phenomenal.
God tier.
Oh my God, it is the absolute best video game adaptation I've ever seen.
Speaking of video game adaptations.
All right, are we moving on? Or?
We can in a sec. I do want to say, I think we've mentioned before, but I am a little worried about Bella Ramsey. I like her a lot in part 1. I think she's great for young Ellie. I'm just a little worried about after time skip Ellie. I hope that's not a spoiler. I mean, the game takes place like years later.
I would assume.
Yeah, like the whole game is immediately it's time skip.
Yeah.
Like I'm a little worried how she's gonna do with this version of Ellie. She's still Ellie, but she's a little different, a bit. I'm just curious how that's gonna work out.
We'll see.
And for this character that everyone hates, I'm very curious. Oh,
I know they've already been putting up teasers.
yeah, they put up a poster with this character's arm in it. It's like a very fundamental scene for this character is what they're showing. So they're not trying to backtrack on it. They're gonna go full force. What it looks like.
I would hope they would.
Me too. But there were talk. I read a lot of stuff online about this, and there was talk about should they for TV audiences.
Oh, because TV audiences don't like that kind of thing.
But I mean, this is from the studio, it's HBO. They did Game of Thrones. Like, I think I mentioned this to you before, but this one is it's way more Game of Thrones in the way of like, it is so gory. Multiple times, Chris and I were like, whoa, like, are you serious?
Dang.
Yeah. And we played a lot of games, seen a lot of shows, but it's going to be rough in the show.
Well, I'm excited. I'm apprehensive to play it because that's part of the reason I think I've avoided it for so long, because I don't know exactly anything, but I just know that something happens that I've heard a lot of people get mad at, and I tend to get mad at the things that a lot of people get mad at too.
I think I misunderstood the thing that people get mad at.
So,
I thought it was
that could
one
be
thing,
me.
but it's something else.
See, it could be the same thing for me.
I think it probably is, honestly.
So I just know there's something in here that might make me mad, and
I think I could. I'm afraid to say this. I could see you dropping the game, but I really hope you don't, dude. Like,
I
please.
won't. My wife won't let me. And I want to be able to watch it for the show.
There's a point where like a lot of people drop it, and it's a little over halfway through the game.
I think I know why. I'm not gonna say on or off camera because I don't want to know for sure.
Doubt you know why.
But I think I know why. It has to do with gameplay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure, but just do it. Like, because Chris and I at this point were both like, man, come on. And we were kind of like annoyed as well. But we just pushed through it. And I am both of us at the end were like, so glad that we did that we pushed through it. Because what they did with this story is phenomenal. I would definitely think it's a masterpiece. I mean, that's not saying anything new. People have said that about it for a while. But
Nice.
yeah. I'm interested to hear your thoughts, but
Cool. Well, you finished that before we'll get to the other thing you wanted to talk about.
the mushroom in the room.
The mushroom in the room. Oh, I should have brought Yarlog.
Dang,
today.
dude, what?
I know right where he's at.
God,
I should have brought Yarlog.
such a loss.
Yeah, that would have been good. Yarlog would have been good for last episode, the weekday one-up
But
episode.
we didn't even know we were going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I have been reading.
I really wanted to do catch up on the next episode. Do you have more to talk about next time?
We can catch up next episode.
Oh, I mean, you could do one this time. It's just,
No, let's do it next episode.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You're positive? Okay. I feel like I stopped the episode.
No, you're good.
Okay. So the other thing we wanted to talk about was
You intro it. It's your episode.
Mario movie.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like we're going to have a lot to say about this.
This is maybe a little late to the party unless we get this out maybe tomorrow.
It will be
or-
out tomorrow or the
Cool,
next
cool,
day. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, before we move on, I did want to say that that I'll be able to start helping more. So, because my brother-in-law mailed my wife and I his old PC that he built, and it's a really nice PC. So, and pretty much every part can be replaced. It gets broken. Here's the thing: we got it, and something is wrong with the graphics card.
We're positive it's the graphics card.
Pretty sure. Now, I did have one of my coworkers, Michael, look at it, and he said something about I think there's no graphics card processors even downloaded on the computer, or something like that. See, I'll have to ask him.
Strange.
Yeah. So.
But this computer worked before, though.
Yeah, he had it up and running. It's just when we got it, the graphics card was somehow either damaged or something.
It's just so interesting to me because do you know Linus Tech Tips?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
A very popular YouTube channel on the YouTube.
What?
Just recently they put out a video of fixing a computer that was mailed to someone that was literally destroyed. The whole thing looked like it was ran over by a truck. And the graphics card still worked. The motherboard still worked. The power supply still worked. It looked completely destroyed, but somehow they were. Even the graphics card had like scratches on the pins, but it still worked. So I'm so shocked because I saw the picture of yours. He sent me a picture of the computer and the graphics card. To me, in the picture, it was hard to tell. It looked like askew.
It wasn't. See, what happened was because, no offense to my brother-in-law, but he didn't really do the best job of wrapping it.
Right.
But I think he just used what was available.
Well, I
at the
mean,
post office.
what he should have done, and just advice to anyone who wants to ship a PC, like especially a custom built PC that you made yourself, and like if you know how to get in there and do stuff with it, just take out the graphics card and mail that separately because it's the most damaged part. Because it just hangs loose, so it can bounce around in there.
But yeah, what happens is we put the graphics card in, and the computer won't turn on at all. We take it out, computer turns on, and hooks up to everything, and it can connect to internet, and I can do streaming. I can stream, stuff, but I can't do any gaming or editing or anything useful.
I would love for you to try a different graphics card in it just to be sure, but
I'm gonna order one. probably after ASIN along with a new microphone.
Yeah, we're gonna get a new mic for this, so everything should be. The mics sound a lot better recently, but we're gonna get it perfect.
Yeah, we won't have any issues after that. Plus, it'll help for my stuff too, especially when I get the computer.
Yeah.
And what I'm getting at is, I'd like to start doing the thumbnails. I'd like to be the because I'd like to.
I'll have to show you how.
Yeah. Because I'd like to practice for myself too.
Yeah.
But I would like to myself be our thumbnail guy.
That would be incredible. Either one. If you like doing the thumbnails, you can do it, or if you don't, I can do them. You can do the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whichever. I can show you how to do both, and whichever one you like, you can do it. But that would help me tremendously.
It's just because I don't know. I can't imagine it takes that crazy long to do. I'm sure it takes a minute, but I can't imagine it takes hours and hours and hours.
It depends. It depends on the thumbnail.
Oh, really?
I've definitely spent. I think maybe the longest I've spent on a thumbnail is like 3 hours, 3 or 4 hours.
So that's not bad.
But that's at the max. The shortest amount of time I spent on a thumbnail is maybe 10 minutes. So it could be.
So it's just a matter of how much work I want to put into it, essentially.
Yeah, it depends what you're going for with the thumbnail. The biggest part of the thumbnail is like the creativity of it, like thinking, what do I want to do with it? Because it's such an important part of videos nowadays. It used to not matter. I mean, it always mattered, but it used to not matter the way it does now. Like, you really got to try to draw people in, which it's rough. You may do better than me. I don't know. I've never thought that I was that good at thumbnails, to be honest. But
We just, I think we both need to take some time and do pictures of both of us.
oh yeah. You may have noticed recently I've been having less pictures of us. Something they found on YouTube is that if there's a face in the image, and especially if you can see the white of the eyes, the video will do better. It doesn't have to be our faces. So recently on some of them, like the Everything Everywhere All at Once one.
It was just the poster.
Yeah, and it was her face. You could see her face very close. So I was like, we don't need our faces then. There's a face here. So I typically use our faces when there's not a face available. But that's awesome. I'm curious though, because this is the first time we've talked about it in person. The graphics card was in the PC?
Yeah, it was just completely hooked up.
So it wasn't unplugged.
But it looked like the computer looked like it had been dropped. Like there was a sticker put over the fragile mark on the box.
Really?
And it was, he put bubble wrap around it, but it was just the thin kind, one layer wrapped around. And
I mean, what he should have done if he wasn't going to take it out, again, a little advice is put some kind of wrapping inside it to hold it the graphics card in place. Because if the case gets broken, not that big a deal. You can replace the case. It's not that expensive. But if that graphics card gets broken, that sucks.
Yeah, we're pretty sure it's the graphics card.
Man.
I'm hoping it's not the thing that holds the graphics card.
The motherboard?
Yeah.
That's cheaper.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean, it's more work to switch it, but it's cheaper.
I know someone that could do it for me. I know 3 people that could do it for me, actually.
Right.
I got you, Michael at work, and Nate. All 3 of you could do it.
We can all come together like, how are we going to do this?
All right, Geek Squad.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, I've only built PCs twice. They probably know more than me, but I'm always a little, I'm scared. When I build PCs, it's literally like adult Lego. I've heard people say that, and it kind of is, but like with wires. And that's the part that I'm
so
like.
So you mean Lego?
Lego. What?
Adult Lego is just Lego.
Yeah. But I'm not the one who said this originally. I don't remember where I heard this.
Well, I'm shaming whoever said it originally.
I mean, Lego is traditionally for kids, but I'm not saying nobody can do it.
What? Just because the title Lego means play well?
Does it?
It's got to be for, it's leg and goat, or like leg and goat.
Where's Lego from?
Denmark.
Didn't know. Is that where they have the big museum, Lego museum?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
They got all kinds of stuff in Denmark about Lego.
Is that where they have a whole city made of Lego where people live?
I don't think people live in there, but...
Oh. Well, that's disappointing. I would have loved to visit that.
But I'm also not sure if that's in Denmark.
I might have just made that up.
I think there is like
I feel like, yeah.
A small neighborhood made of Lego, but it's not like... I don't think anybody lives in the house.
It's probably not insulated well. I would imagine it does not great for living.
Probably really uncomfortable. Floor's probably hard to walk on.
I never thought about that. Yeah. So Mario movie.
Yes.
We
Beating around the
watched
bush.
it.
Yes.
You watched it, yeah?
I did watch it.
Cool. I went and saw it alone. I should have invited you. I should have invited Drew, somebody. I invited Chris. Here's what happened with me. I just wanted to see it. I was like, it's coming out.
You've been skipping out on seeing movies with people since you got back.
Well, I've only seen 2 movies since I got back, and one of them I saw with Chris. I've only seen 1 movie alone,
Oh.
and that was Mario.
I thought you saw more.
Nope, I've only seen 1 movie.
I invited you to see Avatar, but you're like, no, I'm too good for you, bro.
I still haven't seen it. I don't know why I just wasn't. I was like 2 or 3 hours for a movie that I just not that hyped on. You know,
You would have liked it.
I know I sound like a douche. I know
You
I
would've
would have
liked
loved it.
You would have liked it a lot.
I know. But I still forget about it until people bring it up. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that movie came out. I forgot.
You would have liked it, despite what critics say, and it does have its issues, and I have my own issues with it.
Well, critics have a lot to say about Mario as well.
Yeah, but critics are wrong about Mario.
Yeah.
Critics, I can understand the critics' complaints with Avatar.
I mean, I can understand the critics' complaints with Mario. I guess we can talk about that.
All right.
But-
I don't even know what the complaints are because I don't care.
Well, the complaints are basically people who don't know anything about Mario watching a Mario movie.
Okay, well then, yeah, those are dumb complaints that I don't care about.
Well, I mean, I'm saying I can understand those because I really believe if you are a person who doesn't know anything about Mario other than who he is, I mean, everyone knows who Mario is. I really don't think this is a movie you should watch, to be honest. Like, I think you wouldn't like it because have you thought at all like about the plot of the Mario movie? Look, I love it. I'm not trying to hate on it, all right, but
It's very simple.
it is so predictable and formulaic. It's
Yeah.
extremely safe, I would say.
But you know, that's why it works so well. Because sometimes back to formula is the best. If you can do, it's like My Hero Academia. If you can do, because My Hero Academia plays with every single shonen trope on the planet. All of them are in that show within the first like 50 episodes. Even. But if you do it right and do it in a really artful and like cool, somewhat different way, then you have like gold on your hands, and that's what the Mario movie did.
I agree, but yeah, as a perspective of someone who doesn't know Mario, I could see how you could be like, it's just like I've seen this plot a million times, but it's just different characters and different powers.
Sure, okay.
So I can understand the critics hate on it in that case, but I don't know. I want to say they shouldn't have been reviewing it if they don't know Mario, but it's their job, you know. It's like the biggest animated movie ever.
Well, the problem is a lot of these people in Hollywood even the critics who have to see all these movies they're out of touch because they their job is movies. Their
I think
job
we've
is
talked about this
cinema.
before. Yeah.
So occasionally they might catch a show on one of the big shows on Netflix or Hulu or something. But their job is cinema. They're not paying attention to video games. They're not paying attention to, well, I guess video games or comic books or anything like that. They're paying attention strictly to movies or on-screen stuff.
Well, there's another issue with critics as well. I think we talked about it, but maybe I just heard it on a podcast. And that was that, like, the everyday person, we may watch a lot of stuff. We may consume a lot of stuff, but not in the way critics do.
Yeah, I've heard Nostalgia Critic talk about that. He said that because he did a whole video about when critics are wrong. Because he's a critic, obviously. It's in the title. But he's himself has bashed critics. Because he's like, yeah, just because we don't like a movie and you do, that doesn't mean we're wrong or you're wrong, or we're wrong or you're wrong, or you're dumb for liking it. The problem is that we have to see every single movie that comes out.
So you're going to see the tropes more. You're going to see.
Yeah, it's like watching every single anime that comes out. You're going to notice, it's gotten to the point to where the Bad Batch. I just recently finished the second season of Bad Batch, the Star Wars show.
Oh, okay.
And the halfway through the episode, I was like, "This is how it's going to end." this is how the season's gonna end. It's gonna end just like this, and then it did. I was like, yep, saw that coming. Now, Bad Batch is technically a kid show, but it's one that kids and adults can kind of watch together.
I had this happen though. I think we talked about this on this podcast, but Wednesday. I really loved the show Wednesday. You still haven't watched it?
Not yet.
It's too bad. I predicted who the bad people were very, very early.
Oh, is it a twist villain?
I don't think it's a twist villain. I think it's you just have no idea what's happening.
Okay.
But yeah, I predicted who it was gonna be really early, and to me, it just felt so obvious the whole way through. And talking to some other people, nobody else guessed them.
Are you sure you're not talking about Incredibles 2?
I've never seen that.
Oh, well, you're going to be like, oh, that's the bad guy.
But I
Continue.
mean, but it's in a way of like, I think it would be difficult to guess this person. And talking to other people, no one else I personally know guessed them. But I just felt like I've seen this formula with this type of thing. And it didn't ruin the show for me at all. In fact, it made me super hyped when I was right. I was like, yeah. But it's that type of thing. I can imagine if you're a critic who sees so much stuff, you would feel that with everything you watch. We're like, yep, guess that. Do that. Where for me, this was like a one-time thing where I'm like, oh, cool. But if every time I guessed it right.
Right. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, I can never be surprised anymore.
Yeah, because there's only so many stories to be told, right?
And see, and I both understand that perspective, but also I'm like,
But it's,
because like, I'm the same way. I see tons of movies. I've seen all the, I don't see every movie. I get it. But I do think critics are overly harsh towards certain movies for certain things. Like they can, like they'll probably pick apart the new Avatar because they're, like I've heard, like even I guess we'll say nostalgia critic, the new Avatar, his big complaints is how do I spoil what the message is without
whoa.
spoiling it?
I don't want to spoil
Hang on,
it.
I'm not. How do I say what the message is? Very like right there
Okay.
in your face, and there's no denying what that message is, and it's a message that we've had preached to us for years and years, and it's just kind of a weird message to be like, oh really, you're gonna preach this message to us in Avatar? You know, because the first Avatar, it's all about, you know, preserving the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, save the planet, you know, preserve nature, you know, nature over technology, crap like that. The next one, it's similar. It's still got a similar, you know, save the planet, because I have a feeling they're all kind of be like that.
Mm-hmm.
But this one has a first even more specific, like, here's what we're talking about. And you'll know it when you watch the movie. And I have all my complaints actually do revolve around the things. In that.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I
See, I'm
can't.
trying to be vague.
Yeah,
so
you're
maybe
so vague. I have no idea what to say.
Let's move back to Mario.
Well, just before we go to Mario, really quick, because I do, as a critic myself, in a way, a convention critic, I have felt this where like I went to so many cons and saw so many of the same. You become jaded with certain things, and I know going to Youmacon last year, a lot of people's opinion on Youmacon last year was that it was bad in general. Now you had a worse experience from things that happened to you, but
Sure.
would you have called the convention as a whole bad or no?
I wouldn't have called it good,
Okay.
but I don't think I would have called it bad.
Okay. A lot of people said it was really bad. I really liked it, and I think if I would have went to that, when I look back at Youmacon this year or last year, and I really think about everything that happened and how it was set up, I do wonder if, and I'm glad I didn't make a review for that one, being my first con back. If I would have never stopped going to cons, would I have felt the same way as well? I think because I had so long to step away and no longer felt jaded by conventions, I was able to just enjoy it. So I think that critic side of me when it comes to conventions was gone or on hold for a while. And I still wonder about that with Crossroads, because I gave the new Crossroads a fantastic score this year. But part of me in my head is like, is this just because I've been gone for so long and I'm not used to these things at conventions anymore?
Well, if
I
you
don't know.
compare the last Crossroads I went to,
Oh, it's definitely better than 2015.
the last one I went to was 2018, and it was just for a day.
Oh, okay.
You at that point, I think, were in Australia or going to go to Australia.
The month isn't right for that, but yeah, that would be when we were planning Australia.
Yeah. Yeah, because you definitely wouldn't have been going to any cons at that point. You were.
Yeah, that was
'Cause
right
I
after.
think Nate discussed. I was like, "Hey, we're gonna go here just a day if you want to come with us," and you were more like, "Away with your silly conventions! I'm traveling the world."
Well, that's what we were talking about last episode.
Speed.
Yeah, that if you said that was in 2018, because theirs is always January, February, so
Mhm.
that would have been right literally when I made the video of like, I'm done with cons. It would have been pretty weird to go at that point. But
because I think Nate did say something to you.
I mean, I have no way to remember. It's so long.
You have a
but-
brain,
Yeah, but brains have a lot of false memories, and
yeah, but
yeah, I don't remember.
not as many as you think. But
I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
more than I think, but less than you think.
Maybe. Yeah.
But so back to Mario. Let's talk about this.
All right. What'd you think about Mario movie?
Dude, I loved it. It was an absolute delight. It was delightful.
What did you expect going in before you saw it?
I didn't really know. I didn't know what to expect. I expected, because I stayed away from every trailer other than the very first trailer.
Me too.
I tend to watch like the very first trailer and then no other trailer if I can help it.
I did the exact same thing. But in the theater, God, I was so frustrated.
Did you see it with full of kids or something?
Oh no, there were kids there, but my audience was fine. But I was so frustrated that for some reason, for seeing Mario, they played a Mario trailer before the movie. I don't know
Ow.
if this was an accident.
Oh, I haven't seen that happen in a long time.
I just shut my eyes and like, whoa. But I did see a little of. There's going to be light spoilers for Mario movie moving forward. I just want to be clear. I'm going to try not to spoil anything super big unless if we do, we'll say it beforehand.
Do you have the spoiler thing?
I never put that back. I could always keep forgetting.
Well, next time. Do it
Yeah,
before the
next
next
time.
episode.
I'll try to remind me.
All right.
I always forget. But the part where light spoilers, Peach turns into like what is it? Fire flower Peach, and
Oh,
she's
she-
holding the fire.
Yeah,
I
that's not
hadn't
a
seen any of that in the trailers. And I saw that, and right before the movie, I was like, "Come on, God dang it! That would have been so cool to not know it was coming." But
I like how she does it too in the movie.
it's so cool, man.
Just the movie's it's a delight, dude. It's absolutely from beginning to end. There was only a few parts, and most of the complaints I had revolved around the soundtrack.
Don't even remember
Exactly. See, they would have like first off, light spoilers. I won't say when or how or what for the soundtrack. No, I won't say that because it's if you don't know what's coming, it's pretty.
But does Peaches not fix any issue with the soundtrack?
He just says peaches over and over.
But it's the
It's
best song of 2023. It's incredible.
No, it is fun and it is funny, and I love the meme of it.
Uh-huh.
But it's starting to overstay its welcome.
Luckily, I'm not really that on social media, so I'm not getting that,
It's
but
starting to overstay its welcome.
I can imagine.
Just a hair.
I love that they made Bowser a simp.
Dude, it's great.
It's amazing. The moment I realized he was a simp, I'm like, genius. Absolutely genius.
I like how they did Peach.
Mm-hmm.
I like that they did her so great. They made her what I love. She's a strong female character, can take care of herself, don't need no man,
Mm-hmm.
keep up in a fight, and she's not mean.
She's very nice.
She is one of the nicest, most pleasant characters, and not boring either. There's a lot of character there. Like you can tell she really cares for her mushroom people. it is kind of weird that they're like, "Hey, little girl, you're a princess now."
Yeah, but it's they made the Minions, you know.
Yeah.
It's the same studio, you know. It's
But-
fine.
What I was wanted to mention was the soundtrack. They throw in a bunch of like random 80s music, which kind of makes sense.
Oh, I forgot.
which kind of
Thunderstruck is in it, isn't it?
yeah, Thunderstruck's in
I
it.
thought you'd be hyped at that moment. It's a pretty
That
hype
part-
moment.
That part was all right. The only other time, but there was a part when like they go to the jungle kingdom
Uh-huh.
and they get picked up in that car, and then it just starts playing "Take on Me" just randomly.
You're right. I did notice. I completely forgot until you're
They do
mentioning
stuff
it.
like that throughout. I liked Thunderstruck just because I like. There are a handful of times where like that it worked.
Well, even the Thunderstruck for me, I was like, really? In the Mario movie? But
It's-
it
yeah.
was, and then they used it in an appropriate moment, but
But for like, to me, if you're going to the Donkey Kong
mhm.
thing, you know what's Donkey Kong's thing? Music. In music,
Yeah,
DK, Donkey rap.
but
You're gonna
they,
go busting through the jungle listening to "Take on Me." I don't want to get copyright, but I don't want to go.
so you mean that if they were gonna use licensed music that wasn't from Nintendo, it should have been rap in that part?
Yeah, like
That
and
would've
because he
been
was in a
kinda
big
cool.
bumpy car, huge speaker. They should have played a really awesome rap song or something.
Or just even like a
Like
hip hop
DMX or
beat
something.
Oh,
Yeah, come on,
Donkey
imagine
gonna
it.
give it to you.
Yes, come on, if he'd have been like when because the way they do it is they say we need a ride, and this cool ape guy, he flips his shades down, flips them back up, and he's like, hop in, and then they bust off. Imagine, and then they bust going, and then "Take on Me" starts. Imagine that scene, but then he takes off, and then it's oh shoot or whatever.
Yeah,
And you're like they're going through the jungle. X gonna give it to you.
it would have been awesome if they could
Would
have
have been way more hype than "Take on Me." And I love "Take on Me." That's one of my favorite songs. You know,
Mhm.
as cliche as it is, but God, they're just music choices. However, the music was meh. The score, the actual music of the movie.
Yeah, it's so good. Actually, that's why I was surprised that they even needed to use like licensed music
Right?
because Mario has one of the best and most
They had-
diverse soundtracks of any game.
They had Koji Kondo helping with the score.
Yeah, I don't really understand why they needed. I guess because this is a traditional American animation studio. Illumination's American, right? Where are they from? Maybe they're
I
not.
think they're French.
They might be. Yeah, they might not be American.
I think they're based in America now, but I think they started in France. I could be wrong. And
I
pretty
think
sure
they're not American, but whatever it is, they're
that's why the
traditional
Minions sound French.
Western animation company.
Hmm.
They love to throw in licensed music,
Well, that all stems back to Shrek,
which worked
which
fantastically.
and Shrek all stems back to Robin Williams as the genie.
Right. But I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the characters.
Yes,
So
yes,
you
yes.
mentioned Peach.
Hmm.
She was my least favorite character.
I think she's the most boring, but I know I just said she was great. But,
She is great. That's why I feel bad saying she was my least favorite.
but that doesn't mean she's bad.
Yeah.
Like, they do her really, really well. Like, because in the games, what do you have to work with Peach in the games?
I think that's what got me, and I'm still wrestling with that. And I think when I watch it again, I'll like Peach I'll like her more.
Mhm.
But she was my least favorite voice, to be honest. I don't know why. It just didn't work for me as Peach, the voice. But I think I will get over it on subsequent views or subsequent watches. But I guess because I didn't watch enough trailers, I didn't know the direction they were gonna go with Peach. I was surprised she's so strong, and I thought it was cool having Peach be so strong. But she's the damsel in distress in the games.
She's a bit of a Mary Sue.
Well, I don't know what that means.
I mean, she's perfect.
Oh yeah,
She's
yeah.
a bit of a Mary Sue, because I did think that. I was like, okay, she's just. Even my wife turned to me at one point. And she's like, because she doesn't like that trope when they make those characters that are traditionally like that,
Uh
because she can tell why they're doing it.
huh.
She turned to me and she was like, oh yeah, here she is. She's a badass.
Yeah, I was okay with it. Like I thought it was cool. She was
Yeah.
very cool throughout. Some of the coolest transformations, fight scenes come from Peach.
It's drastic because she's not the one in the movie that needs rescuing.
Yeah.
It's another person in the movie that means rescuing.
Yeah.
But it makes sense to
It
me.
does make sense, and she does need rescued at some point, which I still liked. But
Because it happens in both the Mario Galaxy games, where you have to go rescue. Do we
oh
want to
yeah,
say?
you're right.
Do we want to say just? Well, this isn't a big spoiler because it's pretty all over the trailers, and most people watch
I
trailers.
think a lot of people have seen this movie. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you haven't seen Mario movie and you don't want any big spoilers, I'd probably bow out now. I think the
Yeah.
rest of this podcast is gonna be Mario movie.
It's gonna be hard because we haven't even talked about it with each
yeah,
other.
I want to get into spoiler territory.
So yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's sick. Huh? I wish I knew who made all this art I have. I think someday it'd be cool to have like, if we got more listeners, just have like fan submitted art and put up their like tag or whatever, their Instagram or something on there. But yeah,
I wanna make out with this picture,
I have
specifically that part right there,
Whitebeard.
right there.
Anyway, we only have about 15 minutes left on this one, so
shoot.
we should.
Yeah. So spoiler warning for Mario.
Just
Bow out now.
Bow out now if you don't want to hear it.
Luigi is the one in need of rescuing this time, and I both love and dislike that.
I thought you would dislike what they did with Luigi until we reached the end of the movie, and then I thought Dakota's gonna love this.
Oh, I loved it, dude.
Yeah.
I was cheesing so hard. I was
I
like,
was-
ah.
when the end of the movie happened, and now we're in spoiler territory, so when Mario and Luigi together
Yes.
get the Power Star, Superstar,
Ah, yes.
and like just busting down
And
on
they got that like what's the cinematic score of
Yeah.
the dun, 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 dun,
It was
dun,
so
dun, dun,
sick.
dun, 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 and you're like, oh.
I was
oh.
thinking of you during that moment. I was
Yes,
like,
I was
Dakota's
like,
loving
here,
this.
I was like, come on, Luigi, do something. Don't just come on, don't be. I was like, come on, Nintendo, don't make my boy like that because I
Yeah.
love Luigi. He's one of my favorite video game characters. I was like, come on, don't do my boy dirty. Come on, give him something to do, and they did, and it was awesome. I was sitting there like, yeah.
Before that point, I was even starting to get a little annoyed for you and for Luigi because he was pretty cool in the movie, but
I liked anytime I saw him. I was
Charlie Day's
delighted.
perfect for him.
He was, and they didn't lean hard into the coward aspect. He was a scaredy cat, but you understood why.
But I was annoyed that like he needed the rescuing. He didn't get to learn how to fight. He didn't get any epic scenes until the
No.
end. And I was like, man, Illumination, even you guys are not gonna do Luigi
Dogging
right.
on my boy.
Yeah, I'm not as big a Luigi fan as you, but I was still like, come on, give him a shot. Especially after what I want, and I know it's not gonna be because of the secret ending. You watched the secret endings,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. I know this won't be the next movie, but I hope we can get Luigi's Mansion movie.
There's talks I've heard because there's talks of them doing a whole. Everyone's saying this is the start of the Smash Brothers universe with Sonic and Pikachu. That's
I
not going to
don't-
happen.
I don't think so.
That is not. Get your hopes real down for that.
I think they
maybe the Sonic movie.
I think they are doing an Avengers type thing, but not. That's so many licenses.
I want a Donkey Kong movie after this movie.
definitely.
I would love because I liked Seth Rogen as I thought I was gonna dislike Seth Rogen. And if you're wondering, does Seth Rogen do the Seth Rogen laugh? He does.
But it's good.
very obvious, and he doesn't even try to hide it. There's a point in one part in the movie, and he's just like,
Now that we're talking about spoilers, I want to mention the part where I knew I loved this movie. And I want to say, yeah, now that we're talking about spoilers, I loved this movie not because of the plot. It was basic, not because of, just all because of the references. And like,
dude, yes.
they
Punch Out Cafe.
they perfected, like they went all out on getting everything in there.
I was the whole movie just looking at the backgrounds.
Yeah.
I was like,
I need to watch it again.
Yes, it's like Ready Player One. You're gonna have to go back and watch it 2 or 3 more times to get everything.
They cared with this. But the moment that I knew, because honestly, first maybe 20 minutes, I was like, I like it, but I wasn't sold yet.
Mhm.
I was like, it's good so far, but let's see. The moment where I knew there was no going back for me was when Donkey Kong came out to the Donkey Kong rap.
Yes.
And I'm like, I almost had tears in my eyes. I was
my
like,
wife was in the bathroom at that part.
no.
And I told her, I was like, she got back and I said, you missed the Donkey Kong rap. She went, of course I did. She was
Oh my
mad. She
God.
loves, because she loves the Donkey Kong rap. Not the level I do, but it's still like, she would have been excited because it's so hype.
I don't remember who I was talking to. It might have been one of my students, but they were saying that the Donkey Kong. Okay. So you guys are gonna correct me if I mess this up, but I'm pretty sure it was Seth Rogen said he wouldn't be Donkey Kong if they didn't have the rap.
I think I saw that somewhere too, but I don't know if it was that he wouldn't be. I think he just insisted.
I don't know. Yeah,
we both could be wrong, but
we're playing
I have
telephone
heard that
here.
too.
Yeah, I didn't see this from a source.
This is all hearsay.
Yeah, I heard
Objection
this.
hearsay.
Yeah, this was from a third party, like not in an interview with him.
I do think I saw something about how he did champion for it.
I hope that's true because that literally is where that changed my whole opinion on the movie.
Because it's fun. The whole movie's fun. Like you're enjoying it, but then as soon that's hype.
Yeah, because I didn't even consider that. I didn't think that was gonna happen at all.
I think I'd heard that it was a possibility,
I'm glad I didn't know anything.
and then he comes out, and then as soon because you hear it,
Mhm.
it's like a build up too. It's like you hear the record scratch,
Dude.
and then you're like, no, and then he busts out, DK, Donkey Kong, and the whole crowd is DK, and then Diddy Kong and Tiny Kong, Diddy Kong, Trixie Kong, and the other one from Donkey Kong 3, they all show up, and then the big guy from Donkey Kong 64, he showed up too. Like there was so many little references even in that part
for everything. And even I was watching a short about Luigi and Mario's boss, Spike.
He's their boss. Yeah,
he's a real character.
Yeah, that was.
And Pauline was the mayor.
Mayor Pauline, because then that one I expected because of Mario Odyssey.
Yeah,
but
I still didn't expect it.
I had only last year just learned about the Spike. I'd only so I was like, oh, that guy.
This movie does forever change blue shells though.
Dude, that blue shell scene.
I don't know if I like this or not. It was cool, but I don't know. It's okay, I guess.
The Mario Kart scene was great. Oh, by the way, Diddy Kong, Gravity Falls fans, look out for Alex Hirsch as Diddy Kong. That's the creator of Gravity Falls, and he does a lot of the characters' voices.
That's right.
But so I'm hoping he plays Diddy in that. But that's the spinoff I want, is the Donkey Kong movie.
Okay, I'll take Donkey Kong movie, but right now I'm championing Luigi's Mansion.
Those are the two. That and I say just start making a whole Nintendo universe now. Give me a Zelda. Give me. You know what I want? To jump aside real quick, and I don't want to jump off on this. I want a live action Metroid like we all do, but I want it in the style of Mandalorian. And I want Gwendolyn Christie, who is Brienne of Tarth. She's the right height. She's 6'3", just like Samus. I want her to be an aged. I want it to be about an aged, older Samus.
You're dreaming.
I know I am, but that's what I want because it's perfect.
At first I was like maybe, but the more details you give, I'm like, you got too many details. There's no way.
Because they're gonna focus. They're gonna get someone like Brie Larson to be Samus if they ever do that. Let's be real. That's just what's gonna happen.
Unknown.
Yeah.
Actually, probably not. After Mario movie, it seems like they want to go like A-list celebrities.
Probably, but that's what it's gonna be. Someone like Brie Larson. But my pick will always be I want a Gwendolyn Christie to play an aged Samus Aran in a Mandalorian style Metroid. So, but
I've never played any Metroid, so I don't know why you want that. But
it could work.
If you believe it, then I believe it. I don't know.
But back to Mario.
I had some other stuff to say, but I forget.
Oh, well, I was getting on that.
What did you think about Toad? Captain Toad. He was clearly Captain Toad. They didn't put him fully in Captain Toad.
I wouldn't be shocked if they tried to make a Captain Toad. He wasn't.
He had teeth.
I don't know. I really don't know how I felt about Toad. I never really thought he was there. He was fine.
I was conflicted about the Toads because the Toads in the game all have the same voice.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it makes sense that they don't in the movie, but they're very different. Only one Toad did he try to sound like Toad, but I was just questioning if it was the right move because it was the only voice where I was like, doesn't really sound like Toad, but Toad's real voice,
it wouldn't have worked for
is so
great. I was fine with the voice. I was fine. He was fine.
Were there any voices you didn't like Any casting that you
No, if you have noticed, I haven't even brought up Chris Pratt. He was fine.
he was fine, right?
Like, I wouldn't say he was outstanding. He was fine.
He was totally fine. And
I liked Charlie Day better.
Charlie Day.
I don't know how that worked better, but it did.
No, that seems so obvious to me. Charlie Day is Luigi. The second they announced that, I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it works. Now, speaking of voices, Charles Martinet does make 2 cameos in this.
Really?
You probably picked out one.
No,
Did you pick out any of them?
I didn't even know to look for that.
Yeah, he's when they're in Punch Out Cafe, which is another reference. And in Mario's room later, he's playing Kid Icarus on the NES.
I saw that. Yeah.
And I was like, he's straight up playing Kid Icarus.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Um,
There's so much I want to say. Go ahead.
but if you look, they have the original Donkey Kong game. And
Yeah.
the guy that turns around and says, "Woohoo!" That's Charles Martinet.
Oh.
Now, that's cool enough. Charles Martinet also plays their dad.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know that either until I watched a video and they're like, Charles Martinet plays Mario. And I was like, perfect.
Okay, I really like that.
That's
really
perfect.
like
I was like, okay. And he's a pretty big part in the. That's something else I never thought I'd see.
That's what I was just thinking I wanted to say.
Their family?
Yeah.
What?
They have other brothers and sisters?
And there's a baby in there somehow?
Yeah, it was not what. When that part was happening, I was like, what?
Like, because in the games, you always see Mario and Luigi, and because they have these mustaches, you assume that they're like older, like in their late 30s gentlemen.
Well,
maybe.
I think this felt like an origin story.
Yeah,
I think
but-
they are by that time.
No, that's what I'm saying. So you don't picture them as being like. In here, this movie, they picture them as being in their like late 20s to early 30s, maybe.
Yeah.
More millennials, like
They're millennials.
they're absolutely millennials
Mm-hmm.
in this, and they're starting up their. It's just such a charming little story.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I was
Damn
not
it.
sure. I was not sure how to feel about them having a family. Sounds bad to say, but we've never seen a but I was fine, and it worked.
It worked because they don't really lean on it. They don't dwell too
Yeah.
heavy on it. They do that thing where the family is disappointed,
Right.
of course. But that's one of those plot elements I can see critics being annoyed with.
I was annoyed with the dog when they went.
Dude,
to,
that was. I was like, come on.
Yeah, that was annoying. At that point, I was like, Illumination at their best.
That's what I told my wife. I said if there's anything in, because she kept pointing out things that she didn't like, and I was like, oh, that's an Illuminate, like that dog.
Yeah.
Or the music choice, or every time they would lean into that stupid star, that Luma. I hated it.
Oh, bro, I feel like you're in the minority here. People love that star.
Dude,
I loved it.
it was fine once or twice.
It was its character.
Why did they end the movie with it? That was literally the last image you see before other than the secret ending. It ends with the stupid Luma being like, "Death is coming for you all."
You
And
think
it's
we're
like,
gonna get a Mario Galaxy movie?
I hope.
They reference. Was it Peach or Mario? Like when they're in the field of fire flowers, looking out. Like there's
Oh,
galaxies.
she said there's a
out
whole
there.
huge galaxy out there.
I was like,
Something that.
oh.
I was like, they're going to space.
Will Rosalina be 7 feet tall?
She is tall.
She is. I watched a video recently about that she was supposed to be normal size, and then they made her huge. You can never trust people online for sure, but what they said in the video is that it was for Mario Kart because they wanted another heavy
I
character.
did see that.
Yeah.
I did see that.
I don't know if that's true or not, but
that
she is
feels-
huge in Galaxy though.
She is very tall.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm hoping they bring in Princess Daisy personally.
Yeah. I'm surprised she wasn't. Honestly, I'm
That's what I'm
surprised she wasn't
hoping for.
already there.
Mario met his girl. Let's let Luigi meet his girl.
Yeah. Well, that's when we need to get I need a Luigi's Mansion movie. Because I never cared about Luigi until I played Luigi's Mansion. Luigi's Mansion 3 is still...
I haven't played 3.
Bro, I own it. I would let you borrow it, but you've got Last of Us and... God, it's such a good
I'll get
game.
my own copy at some point.
It's so freaking good, man. You've got to play it. It's one of... If you were to ask me what's my top 5 Switch games, Luigi's Mansion 3 will be in there. I think I have it in my... I have a website where you can list. It's like my anime list.
Send
for
that to me,
games.
please.
Okay, I will. I'll try to remember. I love it. I spent so many hours setting
Is
it
there
up.
an app for it?
I'm not sure. I think
Either
it's
way.
called like Rank 1. But I'll try to remember to send it to you. But for anyone wanting something like that, it's called Rank One. I'm pretty sure. Google that. It's like My Anime List where you can set up want to play, playing, and completed games, and you can rank them and all that stuff. And they let you have 10 favorite games. I'm pretty sure Luigi's Mansion 3 is in my 10.
Okay.
We're pretty much out of time on this one, but there's something we did not talk about.
Okay, there was one more thing I wanted to say about the Mario movie.
Yeah, that too. Okay. We can both have one. What was
right.
yours?
So my thing is Cranky Kong.
Okay.
I didn't like him.
I liked him.
I didn't like his voice.
I didn't know what to expect from a Cranky Kong voice.
Cranky Kong's the OG Donkey Kong.
Yeah, no, I know. But
if people don't know, and I didn't expect that his voice would sound like this. I'm doing a bad Fred Armisen
it
impression.
was not that off though. That's yeah.
I mean, it's grating. It was just grating.
It was weird, but I was okay with it.
But Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong. Give me that Donkey Kong movie, Nintendo.
So 2 rapid fire things really quick before the one last thing that I don't know how we didn't talk about.
Yeah.
The rapid fire ones are Mario Kart scene. That whole part was incredible. I'm so glad I didn't see any of that in trailers. I loved it. And the very beginning, Mario and Luigi in their commercial having Italian accents. I thought that was cool. And then I was glad they took out the Italian accents.
Yeah.
It would have got grating throughout the movie. And I think it would have felt weird.
I think so too.
Yeah. But the last thing that I can't believe we haven't talked more about, we talked a little bit about him. Jack Black as Bowser.
Oh my God.
How have we danced around that? That is the perfect casting.
Do you think he's going to get arrested?
For what?
For stealing the show.
Has he been?
I don't think so. I think he's still at large.
He's so incredible as Bowser, man.
It's like no brainer.
It wouldn't have crossed my mind if you were to ask me who should play Bowser, but once it was announced, it was like,
oh
yeah.
Duh.
Yeah, of course.
Of course Jack Black is Bowser. Like, I can't imagine anybody else as Bowser.
Yeah, he was so good. And then singing Peaches, so perfect for Jack Black.
Mm-hmm.
God, every time Bowser was on screen and talking, I was so enthralled. He was fantastic.
Now, since we're in spoilers, the movie does end with Bowser's defeat, of course.
Dang.
But he gets shrunk down to real big, real small. Something I thought about, he still probably has most of his powers. They're just scaled down.
Probably.
He could probably still do quite a bit of damage with that fire breath.
Bowser will be back.
Oh, of course he will. It's Bowser.
Yeah. And
what other villain are they going to bring in?
Ganon? That'd be weird. Something we talked about a little bit as well, but didn't fully mention, the secret ending. Yoshi was interesting to me because
you see Yoshis.
That's what was weird. We saw Yoshis in the movie for a second, but then we got a Yoshi secret ending. The green Yoshi. So they're giving it, this is the Yoshi.
This is the, because I don't know if there were any green Yoshis.
It's so quick, and I wasn't looking for
it's
colors.
It's literally about a 5-second scene. There's definitely blues and reds and yellows.
I saw pink as well, for sure.
But I don't know if I was, because you're just like, of course there's green Yoshis. There's got to be.
Right.
So maybe there's not.
No.
So maybe they're setting it up that he's the Yoshi that's going to be hanging out with Mario. And
the theater that I was in did cheer like crazy when the
really?
Yoshi. Yeah, and me too, because Yoshi's my favorite.
Of course.
So I was like, yes. I don't know what they're doing with Yoshi. Is this a Yoshi solo movie, or are we saying the next Mario movie is going to involve more Yoshi? I don't know.
It'd be my guess. They're definitely going to. There will be a sequel.
I just can't imagine.
No way there's not.
Can Yoshi hold his own movie? That's what I don't know. Yoshi's barely able to hold his own game as much as I love him. I mean,
he doesn't really speak is the thing, but neither does Link, so.
Right.
And if they do Yoshi, there's no way they can't get a celebrity. They have to use the guy that does Yoshi's voice.
We would have said that about all these characters, I think, as well. We would have said that about Mario.
No, but because Yoshi doesn't talk. The whole thing that makes Yoshi Yoshi is those little noises.
They're gonna make him talk, dude.
They shouldn't.
He's gonna talk.
No.
I would almost promise you he's gonna talk.
I don't want Yoshi to talk, dude.
It'll be fine. I trust him. All right, guys. Well, we are over time. We try to cut it at around an hour.
Do you got a recommendation today?
I wanted to recommend Mario, but since we got rid of everyone who hasn't seen it, that feels like a bad recommendation. What would I recommend? You could take it if you have one. I don't know.
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, Evangelion. Back there. It's a great anime. I probably wouldn't watch the original series because the ending is very strange. It's great. Look, I'm not trying to start a huge argument in the comments. If you're going to watch it, I'd probably watch the remade movies. They remade it and they are fantastic. One of them's a little boring. I can't remember which one, but the other ones are really, really good.
Which one was the one Drew fell asleep while we were
That's the
watching?
boring one.
Is that
Yeah,
like-
I think
that's
it's
the
either
second
2 or
one.
3. I think it's 2.
Yeah, I think
And then
it's the second
3's
one.
really, really good. I can't remember. It's one of those, but yeah, Evangelion.
All right.
All right.
Stay nerdy, everybody.
See you next time. Bye.